Your Honor, standing doesn't just arise because someone has to pay the tax. Paying the tax is not the only injury. We're also alleging injury from the existence of the tax, which we know is in effect now and will be operationalized in January of next year. And it includes impacts on values of assets. It includes plaintiffs having to engage in estate and tax planning in deciding whether to acquire or dispose of taxable assets this year before the tax becomes effective next year, and so forth. In consequence, plaintiffs have sufficiently alleged facts to establish that they will suffer an injury in fact. You don't have to suffer the injury now. You have to show that it's not unreasonably speculative that you will suffer an injury in the future.
Plaintiffs have not alleged and cannot allege that they know they will pay this tax because they just cannot possibly know that at this point. That is inherently speculative, and no amount of pleading can change that. And to be clear, Your Honor, it's not as though we're asking them to wait, 10 years to litigate the constitutionality of this tax. If a plaintiff really wants to, they could sell a capital asset early in 2022, incur capital gains, pay the tax early, and file a lawsuit. Certainly, that would be sufficient to create standing under the Uniform Declaratory Judgment Act. But what's not sufficient is just to say that we own capital assets that would be subject to the tax if we sold them and if we incurred gains of beyond $250,000.
With respect to my clients who live far away from Thurston County, where an action is proposed to be transferred, that would discourage a lot of farmers, people who live in rural areas, from challenging the constitutionality of unconstitutional tax laws. And we submit that would be contrary to the interest of justice.
It is true that the town of Waterville is the highest elevation of any incorporated city or town in the state of Washington, but I have no illusions that the Douglas County Superior Court is the highest court in the land, so to speak. It is inevitable, don't you think, that this case will end up in Olympia at some point?
It may, but that doesn't mean that it shouldn't be allowed to start anywhere an aggrieved taxpayer questions the constitutionality of the statute.